Hey everybody, Peter Finch here, and during this video we are going to be looking at the keys to long straight drives, how to adapt your swing, and what equipment you should be using. In other words, which driver should you have? So first of all, I need you to hit that like button harder than you would a 400-yard drive. And also subscribe to this channel for a chance to view some just about above average content for, years to come. So first of all, we want to understand how this club should be moving through impact. That's going to help you focus your mind onto what actually matters. So hitting it long means you need speed. And hitting it straight means you need to be able to square that club face at the point of impact to your target, or slightly left or slightly right of your target, depending if you're hitting a draw or a fade. You know what I mean. Now speed, you're going to be able to get this through three key areas. But it's up to you and hopefully your long-suffering golf coach to pick which of these is going to be most important to your game and which one you're going to have to work on the most to improve. So first of all, hand speed, otherwise known as flash speed, or Fasty McHand's face speed, or something like that, but it cannot be overlooked. Now this is not scientifically accurate, but we can split these three sources of speed, basically making up 33.3% of your overall power. Now hand speed comes from and can be thought of the width that the hands actually produce around the body, the hinging or the cocking of the wrists, and then as you come through impact, the unhinging or the uncocking of those wrists, and then again the width of those hands as they move around the body. Now the faster that you can make this type of movement, the more flash speed, the more hand speed that you're actually going to be able to develop in conjunction with the rest of the shot. Number two, rotation, and this is the amount of rotation that your body has within the backswing and the through swing. A quick note I want to make here, your rotation makes so much of the speed possible. And something which is often overlooked is the depth of turn on the right hip. A lot of people just want to turn the upper body, they want to try and resist against the lower body, but if you can turn into that right hip, that's going to free your torso up so much more on the backswing. So the width of the hands and the hinging we already know about, and now we're going to get that turn, that nice deep rotation there into the right hip, and then as you move through, again it's that rotation of the hip followed by the rotation of the body as you move through. Now adding those two things in together, on fire today. Now ground force is something which for many years players have utilised, but we now have a better understanding of how it actually works and we can explain it a little bit better. Well, some people can. I'm going to ramble for a little bit. So as you push down into the ground, you can then use it for leverage to then draw power upwards and then to explode in this type of motion. It's an athletic movement which is at the source of so many movements. And it always makes me smile when you think about commentators in the past when they used to talk about Tiger. Oh, he's losing height during his downswing. He's losing height during his downswing. No, pushing energy downwards so we could draw it back up. Now simply pushing down into the ground and then drawing that power upwards, again on its own it's not going to do you many favours. All that's going to turn you into is just someone who kind of bobs up and down and flips the hands a little bit. But in conjunction with the width of the hands, the hinging of the wrists, with those rotations and then that movement downwards, really pushing downwards into the ground and then drawing it back up whilst turning, all those things together, that's what's going to give you the maximum amount of power available. So really deep squat on this one, come on. Pushing that power down. Oh, damn, God, I'm hitting it well. Now, as mentioned, this is up to you and hopefully your coach to actually decide which one of these needs more work. You might be a player that has loads of good hand movements that can add so much speed in with the hands, but you really might be lacking creating any type of power through ground force. You could have wonderful rotation, but no wrist hinge. There's so much that you could actually work on, but like I said, try and get to a coach if possible. Now, all these things are lovely, I hear you cry, but I'm slicing the ball, hooking the ball, and it's going miles offline. I don't need to put more power into that shot. Fair enough, but there may have to be a trade-off. Remember, when speed gets higher, the tolerances are going to get much tighter. Squaring up that club face at lower speeds, it's simpler. It's as simple as that. And to break a swing video down into how you can smash the absolute living hell out of a golf ball and still keep it in play, that's tough. But here's one of the biggest things that I see affect golfers when they're trying to hit the driver and when they're trying to produce power as well. It's the early extension move. It's the loss of posture throughout the point of impact, the hips moving forward, the spine straightening up, that dreaded humping the goat movement. Now, to start working on that, a lot of the groundwork can be set within the backswing. I've already mentioned about moving into that right hip, about rotating really deeply. A nice little drill that you can use is if you get set up to a ball, the leg straight, that tilt over, so pretty much your posture but without the knee flex. And then on the backswing, really try and feel like you're getting low into that hip, like you're really turning into it. That can help to activate that side of the body. It can help you to get the feeling of what it's like to rotate that hip. And if you can get to the top of the swing by rotating deeply into that hip, it should allow you to actually keep those hips that little bit further back as you start to swing down, and then turn them out of the way rather than just moving forwards and upwards. Remember, if you're using ground force, it's about pushing down, turning to get out of the way. It's not about pushing down and literally just jumping up and out of the way. Now, the problem with an early extension is if you start to move into impact with those hips going forward, what tends to happen is the hands move outwards, but the club actually drops in behind the hands. And then you've got to really rotate and kind of flip those hands over. It can lead to snap hooks. It can also lead to big blocks as you start to push that club out to the right-hand side. So that type of movement into that hip, trying to stop that early extension, it sounds simple, but it really, really isn't. It does take a ton of effort, both technically within the golf swing, but also potentially a little bit of training as well to get your body in the shape that it needs to be. And if you're not willing to put in that time and effort, then chances are it's going to be unattainable. So either make it attainable or quit moaning. Now, to hit the ball long and straight, what driver should you be using? Now, at the moment, I am using this TaylorMade Sim driver, and for me, it's probably the best TaylorMade driver that I've ever hit, I'd say. It is an absolute beast. However, one of the big advantages for me is that I produce quite a lot of backspin with my driver, and the Sim driver in particular really helps me reduce that. But for many golfers, a lack of spin is often what causes the problem. Because to get the ball up in the air, yes, you need launch, yes, you need to be hitting up on the golf shot, but you also need a decent amount of spin to keep the ball in the air, but also to offer that little bit of forgiveness. Now, I've got two drivers here. I've got the Sim, so my driver, but I've also got the Sim Max. Now, the Sim Max driver, that actually adds a little bit of backspin. And if you have the choice between two drivers, I'd actually say more people are better using the Max version. So let's say if you wanted to get a ping, for example, it'd be the G410 rather than the G410 LST. And pretty much all manufacturers do offer a higher and a lower spin alternative. But the Sim is my favorite out there at the moment. However, there are so many that I haven't tried. I wouldn't take my word as gospel, and I would always recommend once more that you get yourself fit if you're going to have a new driver. So guys, I hope you found that useful. Hopefully you found the information about where you can draw those power sources from attainable. And if you can get yourself to a golf coach to work on them, even better. But if not, work on those things individually, film yourself, see which one you're lacking in, and then get down into those comments below. Let me know what you think. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like this video once more, and as mentioned, get down into those comments and let me know what you think. So a huge thank you for watching. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today, and we'll see you down here next time.